Hello, welcome to West Ham Grumble on Irons United with me, Alf Gasparo. So I've dragged myself out of the hospital bed just to be with you to give you this rundown on the shenanigans of, Saturday night against Everton at home, where they done us over 2-0. And basically, this is what I have to say. Yes, it was absolutely rubbish, wasn't it? It was tripe, it was crap, and it was any other description in a negative way that you can give for a football team made up of individuals playing for themselves rather than playing for the team. We were awful in defence. We were just had no imagination in midfield and no zip and no guile up front. We were just poor all over. Got to hand it to Everton. They were everything that we were not. They passed the ball well. They were moving off the ball well. They were looking for space. They were playing for a team as a team. They were playing for the shirt. They were looking for each other. They knew exactly where each other was on the pitch, especially in the first half. And they were still at it in the second half as well. But we kind of raised our game a little bit in the second half to almost match them, but not really. We kind of contained them rather than giving them any threat ourselves. And it was just poor. It was poor all over. Now, you know me, I am totally anti leaving the ground before the end of the final whistle. But you know what? About 20 minutes to go, lots of people were leaving their seats. By about 10 minutes to go, I'd say about over a third of the stadium had gone. With 5 minutes to go, I would say 3/4 of the stadium gone. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I saw. Now, I stayed to the end, as did a quarter of the stadium or whatever. I stayed to the end, and it wasn't to cheer on the team, actually. What it was to do was to hold them to account. And that's what I do. I am holding them to account on their performances. Not in just this one, against the 70 minutes against Huddersfield, against the one against Cardiff, for example, the performances which really let us down. And I'm also holding them to account over the performances that were really good, where we step up our game against, I don't know, whoever, the Chelseas, the Spurs, the Man Uniteds, whatever it is. We seem to do better against those teams more often than not than the teams around us or below us. We struggle when they come at us, with any kind of conviction. We had no conviction at all. Now, we had a few crosses coming into the box. I say crosses, in kind of inverted commas, because they're a bit piss poor as well. But we had a few crosses coming into the box. And then the likes of Lanzini was just taking a few touches here and there and then getting tackled. Whatever happened to hitting the ball, first time? I'll tell you what's happened. Every player is lacking confidence. That's what it is. Because if you're confident, you're full of swagger, then you're just going to hit that ball first time. Okay, you might hit it into the corner, post. You might hit it into the, into the gantry or whatever. But you're going to try and hit it first time because you think, you know what, I'm going to have this ball and I'm going to get it past that keeper. But no, Lanzini wasn't doing that. In fact, a lot of the players weren't doing it. They weren't finding width. They weren't finding space. They weren't finding each other. And Arnautovic was kind of running around like a bit of a headless chicken, his usual, I don't know. And if you remember, Kevin from, Harry Enfield days, it was whatever his character called, he was like that, it's just, and then he pisses off, when he's subbed, and he gets the arse from one of the fans as well. Well, I'm sorry, but hey, you brought this on yourself. You don't perform, you've acted like a prat the whole time. You've basically alienated, if not all the fan base, most of the fan base. And the rest of the players are just all over the place. Diop had a bit of a mare at the back. Ogbonna had a reasonable game. But that partnership isn't firing on all cylinders. Cresswell had a decent game, I thought, but he was alone there. Rice had another decent game in midfield at times, but even then he got caught out a little bit. But you can't blame him because it's the rest of the players around him. But who do we blame right at the start? Well, you've got to blame the club. Well, the club. Pellegrini, right at the start. because he made that, you know, the starting 11. He picked the starting 11. Every man and his dog could tell you that Obiang and Perez should not be starting. When I first heard that Obiang and Perez were starting, was it, you know, when they released the teams an hour before the game, whatever it is, I was just like this. You're kidding me, aren't you? You're having a giraffe. There's no way those two should be playing. But they were. And guess what? They were crap. And guess what? Fair play to Pellegrini for recognising that they were awful and pulled them at half time. But they should never have played in the first place. Every player was disjointed. Every player was, you know, a level or 5 levels below where they should be. Then whoever you bring on in the second half, you know, Antonio would, you know, well, his passes are all over the place. It was just coming off his leg. He was having a mare of a game as well. But, you know, by then the damage had been done. You know, the infection had already got into the team, into the performance. Chicharito came on, yeah, he was running around. But a lot of the time he was dropping short just to come and get the ball. Whatever happened to our forward play, hitting the widths, hitting crosses in, moving off the ball? This is basic stuff. You know, this is the stuff that I coach kids as well. You know, triangles, moving off, moving into space, looking for the ball. There was none of that. There was no urgency. There was no energy. Everything that we lacked, Everton had. And guess what? They're not a brilliant side either. But we made them look brilliant. Look, we know Nasri and Anderson were out of the game. You know, that was released, you know, before the game. You know, what's up with them? I do not know. Is it because they've gone off on international duty or something, or they're a bit tired and they picked up a knock? I don't know. Fact of the matter is, they weren't starting for whatever reason. Noble was on the bench for whatever reason. I've heard a rumour why, and my thoughts are with him as well. But, you know, again, we don't know the reasons why players are left on the bench or left out the starting squad, the matchday squad. But the point is, if they are left out, then the players coming in to replace them need to step up their game, need to prove their worth. How many times has Perez been given an opportunity this season to prove his worth? And how many times has he failed? He's not delivered. Don't give me all that flannel that he scored about 3 or 4 goals, 5 goals this season, because they were against minnow teams and absolute rubbish as well. How many times has Obiang done it as well? Hardly ever. So why are they in the starting lineup? And don't give me any flannel about them proving themselves in training, because they're just not. They're not doing it on match day, so they're not doing it in training either. Pellegrini's got a massive, massive job on his hands. It's not only about winning us over as fans, it's also about sorting out the club, sorting out the deep-rooted infection that's within our club that stops us from being consistent for years. This is not just a recent thing. You know, if you think I'm thinking, oh, just in the last year or whatever, this has been going on for years. You know, that deep-rooted infection that we can identify a good player, then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, you might be off soon because he's pretty good and the big boys want him. What, you think this Declan Rice thing is a recent thing? Do you think it's the first time this has ever happened to us? This has been happening for years. I'm so cross on making myself even more ill just by doing this video. I was watching a lot of the videos from other social media accounts and YouTube channels after the game, and, you know, yesterday and today. And, you know, you understand why people are so fed up. You understand why in the heat of the moment they will say things that they either mean or they don't mean, or sometimes if they considered it a little bit more, they think, oh, might have a more reasoned, like a more balanced approach. But I can't say I disagree. I've purposely waited, you know, almost 24 hours to make this video. But like I say, I still agree with everything that they've said. You know, you can't have players, you know, looking at the crowd as if to say, well, what do you want from us? And you say, well, what do you want from us? Either. You know, sort yourselves out. There are players who are just not fit to wear the shirt. They have lost form, they have lost confidence, they have lost a lot of respect from the fans. They've just lost, full stop. So what that means is that in the summer, we need a massive clear out. We all know that. And it's not only the players that are playing well, we've got to look at personalities. We've got to look at the likes of Arnautovic and Chicharito and, you know, Anderson, Nasriz, you know, all these players, you know, who are not real fighters anymore, or were they ever? You know, we've got to put fighters back. We've got to put a backbone back into our side. And if that means that the quality of individual players drops down a bit, but we've got fighters in there, fair play. You know, I've been saying that for years. We need a more balanced team. We need the creativity, the flair, but we need the fighters in there. You can't have all creativity because you're just too weak on the ball. Lanzini has come back. We expect too much of him. We're hoping that would be brilliant and expect him, but he's just coming back. But he's really weak on the ball. You know, especially when other teams are pressurising us. And he was just pushed off the ball so many times. He didn't have the space to be creative. He didn't have players running off him. There were so many issues with that game. And everybody was just deflated. You know, you could see the energy just zap, just fall away from, you know, the stadium, from the fans. It was just rubbish. And you expect us to keep on supporting you, keep on buying our season tickets or renewing our season tickets or whatever. Buying extra tickets so, you know, family members can come over or girlfriends or wives can come over, you know, like I was doing this weekend as well. You expect us to do that, but you don't give us the consistency we want. Pellegrini needs to sort this out. It's a consistency issue, it's an attitude issue, it's an aptitude issue, application issue. Whatever issue you want to consider, it is an issue and it needs sorting out. Why is it of the next 3 games, or almost 3 games, we got Chelsea, Man United, then we got Leicester, then we got Spurs. Bet you those top 3 sides will play reasonably well against Leicester, Southampton, Watford. I bet you we struggle. Why? Why is that happening? Why does that happen with alarming regularity? Just too much. The whole attitude within the club, top to bottom, needs to change. Are we a buying club or are we a selling club? Are we going to cash in on players or are we going to try and keep them? Are we going to keep players who are ultimately going to disrupt the dressing room, or should we just get rid of them straight away? I saw somebody walking around the stadium with a Payet shirt, you know, Payet written on the back of the shirt. Oh, I could have threw up. How passionate I feel for my dislike for not just him as a player, but the scenario which unfolded and what negative effect it had on us. Regardless of what kind of player he was, regardless of the motivations for him leaving, everything like that, it was a disruptive issue. I have the same feeling it's an Arnautovic now. It's a disruptive issue. And, you know, we can't have players dictating to us as a club which way, you know, we should go. They're employees at the end of the day. They do their fucking job. And that's it. Listen to your manager. Listen to the tactics. Work harder. Play harder. Play with more intent. Because every single fan there deserves more than that. Every single fan who's travelling from both near and far deserves more than what you are giving us on a consistent basis. Right, you can hear my voices going. I could go on for hours, but I won't. This has been the West Ham Grumble. Leave lots of comments below. You know the score. Let me know, and I'll answer you in my typing. Cheers now.